2 centuries, we have told ourselves a comforting, almost sedative fairy tale of redemption. It is the story of Edward Rochester, the brooding, patriarchal, and deeply sinful man from Charlotte Bronte's masterpiece, Jane Eyre. The narrative we have inherited is one of a man who walks through a literal and metaphorical hellfire, emerging on the other side cleansed, reborn, and finally made worthy of the pure, unwavering love of his governess. We celebrate the novel's ending as the ultimate testament to the transformative power of love, its ability to tame the beast and heal a wayward soul. We champion it as proof that even the most damaged man can be saved by the devotion of a good woman. But today, I am here to dismantle that fairy tale. I am here to tell you that this cherished story of redemption is an illusion, a beautiful and profoundly dangerous lie that we have all too willingly accepted. My thesis is simple, and it is brutal. Edward Rochester never actually changed. The fire that consumed Thornfield Hall was a spectacle of destruction. It took his sight, it crippled his body, and it razed his ancestral home to the ground. But it never once touched the fundamental, unchangeable essence of the man. Beneath the scars and the blindness, he is still the same selfish manipulator, the same possessive controller, the same man who views women as instruments for his own gratification and solace. The only meaningful difference is that now he is physically powerless. The story's conclusion is not a romance of equals. Jane Eyre did not marry a changed Rochester. She married a neutralized one. His disability is not the catalyst for his redemption. It is the sole and necessary condition for their marriage to even exist. To understand this, we must first be unflinchingly honest about the man Rochester was before the tragedy. We must strip away the romantic gloss of the Byronic hero and see him for what he was, a tyrant in his own domestic empire. He was, above all, a master manipulator, and Jane was his favorite subject. His decision to disguise himself as a gypsy fortune teller is not a charming, eccentric game. It is a profound psychological violation. Under the cloak of this deception, he pries into Jane's most intimate thoughts and feelings, testing her loyalty and gauging her affections. He places her in a position of extreme emotional vulnerability, not to connect with her, but to gather intelligence, to better understand how to control her. This is not the act of a man falling in love. It is the act of a strategist, mapping out his target's weaknesses. This pattern of psychological warfare continues with the elaborate charade of his courtship with Blanche Ingram. He does not simply pretend to love another to make Jane jealous. He forces her to be a spectator to the entire cruel performance. Night after night, he compels her to sit in the drawing room, to watch him flatter a woman he despises, to witness the public declaration of a love that is a lie. This is a meticulously designed campaign of emotional torture, designed to break her spirit and reinforce his absolute power over her heart. He wants to see her suffer, to know that her happiness and misery are entirely within his control. His love, if we can even call it that, was never about respect or partnership. It was about possession.
You may now join
He
your
constantly
hands.
refers to her not as a woman, but as a creature, a
You have your
sprite,
mother's
an
eyes.
elf, a
Thank
fairy. These are not terms of endearment. They are terms of dehumanization. They place her outside the realm of normal human society, turning her into a mythical, otherworldly pet that he can capture, admire, and own. He is not seeking a wife. He is seeking a spiritual tonic, a fascinating curiosity to alleviate the profound ennui of his own corrupted soul. And of course, we cannot and must not forget his greatest and most unforgivable crime, the calculated, cold-blooded attempt to trick Jane into a bigamous marriage. This is the ultimate expression of his tyrannical selfishness. He kept his living wife, Bertha Mason, locked away in the attic like a dirty secret, a beast in a cage, while he presented himself to the world as a long, suffering, eligible bachelor. His plan to marry Jane was a conscious act of fraud, one that, had it succeeded, would have utterly destroyed her life. In the eyes of 19th century law and society, she would have been a ruined woman, a mistress with no rights, no protection, and no future. His actions demonstrate a staggering contempt for her. As an individual, he did not see her as an equal partner with a right to the truth. He saw her as a solution. She was the cure for his loneliness, the answer to his desires, a fresh acquisition to plaster over the ghastly mistake of his past. The life and soul of Jane Eyre were acceptable collateral damage in the pursuit of his own happiness. So, we must ask the critical question: what precisely did the fire at Thornfield change? The answer is brutally simple. It only changed his circumstances. It took his power. Physically, he was blinded and maimed, transformed from a virile, commanding master into a dependent, helpless cripple who relied on others for his most basic needs. Socially and financially, his power was decimated. Thornfield Hall, the very symbol of his wealth, lineage, and authority, was reduced to a blackened, hollow shell. But this colossal shift was entirely external. There is not a single piece of textual evidence to suggest that Rochester underwent any kind of internal, moral transformation. When Jane finally finds him at the secluded manor of Ferndean, she does not find a man softened by repentance. She finds a man hardened by bitterness. He is described as a caged and savage animal, growling and despairing at his fate. His suffering is real, but it is the suffering of a deposed king, not of a penitent sinner. He shows no remorse for the decades of abuse that drove Bertha to madness and ultimately to her fiery death. He never offers Jane a true, heartfelt apology for the monstrous deception he put her through. His pain is entirely self-absorbed. It is the pain of his own physical loss and his own wounded pride. He has not learned empathy or humility. He has simply learned what it feels like to be powerless. He has not had a change of heart. He has been defanged. The fire was not an act of divine justice that cleansed his soul. It was a physical consequence of his own monstrous actions, the inevitable explosion resulting from years of pressure building in the prison he created in his own home. He did not atone for his sins. He was simply caught in the blast. This is the absolute crux of the novel's resolution. The celebrated union between Jane and Rochester could only succeed when the man's power was completely and utterly annihilated. Jane's return to him is not an act of romantic surrender. It is a strategic move made from a position of unprecedented strength. Consider the woman she has become in his absence. She has found family. She has proven her resilience. And most importantly, she has inherited a fortune. She is, for the first time in her life, a truly independent woman. She does not need Rochester for his money, his status, or his protection. Her famous, triumphant declaration, reader, "I married him," must be read in this context. It is a statement spoken in the active voice. She asterisk is the agent of the action. She married asterisk him, asterisk. This is not the passive sigh of a heroine, finally rescued by her prince. It is the closing statement of a woman who has assessed the terms of a new contract and found them acceptable. She was not granted a marriage of equals. She waited and returned only when the scales of power had tipped so dramatically in her favor that equality was no longer a factor. She was now in control. Their life at Ferndean is not a partnership of two healed souls. It is the dynamic of a caregiver and her dependent. She becomes his eyes and his right hand. The man who once sought to dominate and possess her now relies on her for his every interaction with the world. The patriarchal structure has been completely inverted. The master is now the charge, and the governess is now the guide. This is not the romantic ideal of two halves becoming whole. It is a pragmatic solution to a power imbalance that could only be resolved by the total disablement of the more powerful party. To truly understand this, we must engage in a counterfactual. Imagine the alternative scenario. Rochester survives the fire, but he is not blinded, not maimed. His fortune is damaged but recoverable. He is still the able-bodied, virile, and commanding master of Thornfield. And Jane, now a wealthy and independent woman, returns to him. Would their marriage have been the idyllic union Bronte presents? It is impossible to believe so. His fundamental, controlling nature would have inevitably resurfaced and clashed violently with her newfound, hard, won autonomy. He would have resented her financial independence, seeing it as a challenge to his role as provider and master. He would have fought to control her spirit, to tame the very independence he once claimed to admire. Their home would have become a battlefield, a constant, exhausting war of wills between his ingrained patriarchal entitlement and her refusal to ever be subjugated again. The novel asterisk needed asterisk to blind and cripple him, because the only other honest outcome was a tragedy of domestic confinement for Jane. Therefore,
Reader,
Rochester's disability is not a symbol of his atonement. It is a safety mechanism. It is the narrative's bitter medicine, the only possible prescription that could allow for a happy ending. It is the lock on the cage of his worst impulses. Their love did not conquer his nature. Instead, a horrific physical tragedy neutralized that nature, caging the beast so that Jane could finally be safe. So, the next time you read or think of Jane Eyre I urge you to look past the romantic, sentimental veneer that has clouded our judgment for centuries. Do not see Rochester as a redeemed hero who earned his happiness through suffering. See him for what he is, a tragedy of male power, a tyrant who could only be loved when he was broken. The celebrated ending of this novel is not a story about forgiveness or the transformative power of love. It is a cold, disquieting, and brilliant commentary on the dynamics of power. It suggests that sometimes, for a woman to be truly free, truly equal, and truly safe in a relationship, the man's power must be taken from him, completely and irrevocably,